Hey everybody, this is Kagato, the final boss. And a funny story regarding this video. I had full intentions on actually releasing this video without any commentary. It was just going to be a video of me fighting these people that I found in the lobby. They had their mics up. I figured it'd be fun to just have it play and record and talk about their banter. They weren't flaming me or anything. They were just hilarious guys. But I was an idiot and forgot to plug in my audio plugs for my Dazzle, so I basically got video and no audio. So I decided to make the best of it and decided to do a page out of Maximilian's book, The Online Warrior, and dedicate it to Phoenix Wright and She-Hulk, the two lawyers that I use. And if it's successful, I might actually make a little bit of a series out of this, who knows. But I just didn't want to upload a audio-less video. So, right now, I'm using Phoenix Wright going up against a team of Magneto, Captain America, and Nova, which are all pretty difficult as Phoenix Wright, simply because of the fact that they all have various kinds of mix-ups. Captain America is a little bit easier than Magneto and Nova, but not by much. So, I have to really try and space out Captain America, but with his Disruptor assist, it became a little bit difficult. So, I had to bring in Wesker to deal some damage and eventually killed Captain America. But since Wesker took some damage, I brought in She-Hulk. But now I'm doing the aerial combo and landed the objection, so now Magneto's in trouble. And he's now dead, because of possibly the best piece of evidence in the game, which is the cell phone, especially in turnabout mode. So now Nova is up against the corner. He can't really do anything with all that evidence. But I wasn't doing enough damage, so I decided to bring in She-Hulk, and that was probably a bad idea. Because now I'm getting beat on. However, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to just time out turnabout mode and then eventually hit X Factor. And then I'd just have a much weaker Phoenix Wright. So now She-Hulk's down. For some reason, I threw out Amaya. And what I wanted to do was actually throw out Ace Attorney. But it turned into Maya instead because of my failed input. So now Phoenix Wright's down, so I'm left with Wesker, who I really use as my last resort and the tank for my matches. I don't use him to deal too much damage. I usually leave that to Phoenix Wright and She-Hulk. But he's there for emergencies, and he came through for me in the end there, because level 3 X Factor is ridiculous. You can autopilot and still do well with him. So that was my victory for the first match. And this room is just full of 9th rank or higher. So I have no beginners or rookies. Then again, in this game, rank doesn't really matter. There's beginners that I face that are far more difficult than any of these guys. So I guess it really doesn't matter what rank they are, as long as they're good. So now I'm up against a Wolverine, a Wesker, and a Magneto. Magneto is extremely popular between these guys. However, Wolverine, I have far more trouble with because of how fast he is with his rushdowns. And his simple bread and butters just do so much damage to me, so I really have no choice but to take out Phoenix Wright for right now. Wolverine's just way too fast. So I bring in She-Hulk and I try for the mix-up, or the reset, I should say. And it lands, and I'm able to grab him again when he's up against the wall. If he tried to go the opposite direction, in online conditions, it's a little bit harder to punish that too, but it is possible to actually wait until they're recovering, whether forward or up against the wall, and She-Hulk can actually punish either way. It's a little bit more easy when she has a Barb Hyper, because I can just use taking out the trash, but it is possible to just go for a normal grab. So now, because of Magneto, I had to take out She-Hulk. She doesn't do too well against zoning, and I bring in Wesker. He does better. And I got beat on for a while, but I waited for an opening, and I launched his Maximum Wesker, and then DHC'd into Phoenix Wright to get all the evidence that I need. Now I'm in trial mode. I'd use evidence, but as you can see, disruptors just go right through it. So I attempted to do a super jump into an objection. Not always the best idea, but I figured, well, maybe I can catch him while he's doing a disruptor. Nope, didn't work. So I bring in She-Hulk, attempted an aerial attack from above, which is an overhead, her Swanton Bomb, I guess it's called. And now I'm getting beat on for a while, and it leads into Gravity Squeeze. Not as strong as Ace Attorney, but the exact same properties. Hits everywhere. So I bring in Wesker, and he waits for another, he goes for another attack. I punish that with another Maximum Wesker. Take him out. Now I got Phoenix Wright again. Phoenix Wright against Wesker, not so fun. However, it's a lot more easy to manage as long as there's no assists with him to cross up. So I bring in my own Wesker because Phoenix Wright took too much damage, and I got countered twice. Once from a regular counter, then from the hyper, but I activate my X Factor, hoping that I could get in the ejection, which I did. And this should probably be it for Wesker. Right now, he's in the corner, and once I activate my hyper, he's in a no-block situation. However, he didn't block anyway, so he ended up losing. But if he did block, I would have just DHC'd into the Maya hyper, and since she attacks low at the very end of her attack, it would have forced Wesker to block low, which would have given me an overhead jumping finger, which would have hit him. If he didn't block low, then he would have been hit, and I would still been able to land that finger. So either way, he wasn't going to win that one. So now I'm up against a Viper who I have very high respect for now because I played very good Crimson Vipers. An Akuma and Virgil. And Viper's just trying to get in on me, and I'm punishing her by calling out the shield and just attacking her through the shield because she keeps on punching the shield. And now I try to bait a teleport, but I was a little bit too slow gathering the evidence, so I paid for that horribly. But I'm going to get back at it here very soon. Yeah, he's about, yep, calls in Virgil. I'm going to bait that teleport. There it is, and I punish that. Do a quick combo. Now I'm going to try and space him out, but it doesn't work because he teleports. And I use the wrong piece of evidence, but he doesn't punish me for that. So now I'm going to be able to call in the judge and smack him down for a bit. Doesn't kill him, though. So I bring in Wesker, hopefully so Phoenix Wright can get a little bit of health left. And She-Hulk's still fine. I think she's still at maximum HP, but Phoenix Wright is only at half, and I want him to recover some red health. So I keep using Wesker as a tank in my fights, just so my other characters can survive a little bit longer. Because I really don't want to rely on Wesker. I want to use my other characters, but he's just there for emergencies. I just had to have a Resident Evil character in my team. There was just no way around it. I used to actually have Chun-Li instead of Wesker on my main team when Ultimate came out, but I just can't use Chun-Li the same way I use her in Super Street Fighter. She's just not that good here. She doesn't do enough damage. The damage scaling is too much with her, and I just find that Wesker is just far better a character. Everyone knows that. And besides, it's Resident Evil. I gotta have a Resident Evil rep. I'd use Jill, but it's not the Jill that I like. It's not the Jill from Marvel 2. So I managed to land the objection here. For some reason, he didn't block it. Makes me wonder why they didn't make objection and overhead to begin with anyway. Probably would have been too easy to land it in that way. And I'm going to try and space out Akuma with evidence, because Akuma cannot outspace Phoenix Wright with projectiles. But bring in She-Hulk because Phoenix Wright's a little bit too low, and I managed to land the final hit. And that's that. So people always ask me, why am I still using Phoenix Wright even after the nerf that he got? The pointless nerf, I must say. Because I just love the series. When I pick characters for my team in fighting games, I always go for the character that I like first. I always go for the characters that I like. And then after that, I go for characters that I think are fun to fight with. And then from there, I go to characters that are just easy to use or really good characters. So I went with Phoenix Wright because I love the series, and there's just no one on the roster that I like better than him. Then from there, I went to She-Hulk because I wanted to have at least one Marvel character, and I like girls that can kick ass without weapons. So that said no to Trish. No gimmicks, just brawling, beat 'em up. So I picked up She-Hulk, and I'm really enjoying her. I thought she'd be too difficult, but she's a natural to me. And then I grabbed Wesker because, well, he's Wesker. And out of all the Resident Evil characters, it was really going to be between Wesker or Nemesis. I like Jill and I like Chris, but they just don't play the way I want to. Jill doesn't do the kind of damage that I want to do. And I already have zoning covered with Phoenix Wright, so I don't want Chris, so I figured it's either Nemesis or Wesker. And Wesker is just better between them, and I like him as a character more, so he's on the team. I was using him before using him was cool. No one's gonna believe me, but who cares? So now I'm up against this 4th Ranger again. And I managed to try and go for the reset here, but it fails. That's the unfortunate thing with taking out the trash. If I'm going up against somebody that's really smart with avoiding that move, they can either try their double jump or their flight to get it out of the way. But if they try and fall down, I will grab them with it. Some people try and do, like I said before, try and go forward after they recover. But in online situations, that works, but usually in offline situations or in low lag situations, I can still punish that. So in a way, She-Hulk cannot be guarded against if you're up against a really good She-Hulk. She will basically get you in an impossible situation as long as she has some hyper bar left. So I try and DHC into the Phantom Dance here, but I was too slow and now I'm paying for it. Captain America, he does way too much damage. Well, you know what? No, I take that back. He doesn't do way too much damage. He does just the right amount of damage. I'm glad that they buffed him, and in a way it still pisses me off, but you know what? I'm glad that they buffed him like that. I mean, hell, his hyper, his charging star, holy crap, does that do a lot of damage for a level 1. So, I got Wesker left, I'm going up against level 3 Nova, and that just didn't finish him off, and if I get touched here, I'm pretty much doomed. And he manages to hit me, but he didn't go for the continuation of that combo, which you will see later on, and I managed to punish him with my hyper and finish him off. You will see later that tackle hyper that he does will eventually lead into a long combo that ends in a Magneto gravity squeeze and just completely destroys Phoenix Wright without him having a chance. I think that's actually going to be the next fight that I have against him. So here we go, another time against Wolverine, Magneto, and Wesker. Once again, I have Phoenix Wright out on point. I usually keep him on point most of the time. Sometimes I don't because of the matchup, but I try at least to use my shield to my advantage as best as I can and guard me from both sides in case it's against somebody with a really good cross-up attack. Wolverine has one. He didn't use it for some reason, but it didn't really matter because he managed to get me. And I just go for as much evidence as I can and then bring in somebody else while Phoenix Wright gathers some red health back. So I had no choice. I brought in She-Hulk, so I managed to get all the resets that I want. So now Wolverine's down, and there goes my biggest problem as far as gathering evidence. Wesker, I would think, or if anyone would think he'd be harder, and in some cases he is. But I just think that the speed and rushdown of Wolverine is a little bit harder to deal with as Phoenix Wright. Wesker's a little bit more predictable, even if he is really, really hard to beat, even if he is that predictable. And I finally got all the pieces of my evidence, but I'm still a little bit too low on health, and I'm not able to land that objection. I'd try and space him out with evidence, but Magneto is very, very difficult to space out with evidence. So I called in She-Hulk. She's taking some damage, and she's about to get... Oh, nope. She's alive, and Wesker's in the tank for a while. He's got plenty of health. Fortunately, I have very few bars, and he has 5. This cannot end well. However, there goes Magneto. All that's left is Wesker, and I'm not looking forward to this. However, I managed to land an attack, and hopefully this will TAC into objection, which it did. And now we have Turnabout Phoenix Wright against a level 4 Wesker. Let's see what happens. Tries to dash into me, but the cell phone's a little bit too fast. Managed to land a couple of hits, and he tries to shoot me by landing the Ace Attorney. Just a little bit faster than that bullet. When I can actually land that, it makes life so much better. I usually try and wait until after a long period of time to try and go for the Ace Attorney, but if I feel like it will kill the opponent, no matter what point I am in the turnabout mode, if I feel like I have to use it in order to kill the opponent, then I'll do it. But trying to drag out turnabout mode as long as possible is the better option in most cases. Because the fact that if you can manage to get somebody hit once and follow up on that hit, then you can pretty much kill that character instantly with Phoenix Wright if you know what you're doing. As long as you time your fingers right, as long as you get the right hypers in, He had the right assists in with off the grounds and the like. He can really take down at least one character from full health to nothing without the use of any hypers. If I'm lucky, I can take down 2. If he calls in any assists and I get a happy birthday, then I will definitely take down all of them. But unfortunately, people still think Phoenix Wright sucks, and really he does, because of the fact of his really terrible investigation mode. Although I'm finding ways with fighting other Phoenix Wrights, I'm finding ways on how investigation mode is a lot safer than I imagined, simply because of how well he can use Maya's shield and how quickly she can come in. But as far as actual attacks go, Phoenix Wright has very, very few outside of really good evidence in trial mode and turnabout mode. So there's not much you can do to stop that, which makes him very, very difficult to use and usually free to a lot of characters that know what they're doing. Because if you can shut down investigation mode, then Phoenix Wright is dead. And if you have a better projectile than Phoenix Wright in trial mode, then Phoenix Wright is going to be dead again. But in turnabout mode, that's where everything changes, and I don't care who you are, what you say. Turnabout mode, Phoenix Wright is one of, if not the best character in the game. Bar none. He can stun you with 2 objections, which come out really fast. He's got this Ace Attorney, which I missed, and that ridiculous finger. X Factor Turnabout Phoenix Wright does way too much damage. I think it's enough to kill Phoenix in 2 hits, just 2 fingers, and she's down. So these guys are really, really loving Magneto tonight. I think he's been on virtually every team except for the Crimson Viper team. So this is where I've really gotten my Magneto experience, because I don't fight too many Magnetos. There's not a lot of Magnetos online. You'd think, though, because he's really good. Magneto is ridiculously good. Why is nobody using him? I mean, you always have the trench coats. You're going to see them. There's Nova, there's Captain America, there's Wolverine. I guess just because that maybe Magneto is just more difficult to use. Anyway, here's that combo I was telling you about earlier. He used the tackle, and now I'm in a situation where I am not going to survive this. Take a look at this combo. Down to 33 hits. That lands in Gravity Squeeze. Phoenix Wright is not surviving, so now I have to have my She-Hulk and Wesker pick up the pieces. And that's not going to be easy against this team. And he's doing just everything right now. I just am not able to do much. Fortunately, She-Hulk is about to die. I managed to get out of it, bring out Wesker, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll throw out a hyper because I'm thinking he's going to throw out an attack from the distance, but he doesn't, blocks it. And I'm trying for the mix-ups, and this is going to really make me hurt. I managed to catch Captain America, though. But just wait, Wesker's not going to be out there for long. And I missed the hyper. I'm usually pretty good at landing that hyper attack after She-Hulk does her assist after that off the ground. It's a lot harder to do than other assists, but I try to make the team that I have work. But now I'm caught in a bunch of hypers, and he just has just the right amount of hyper bars to finally take down Wesker with that last energy blast. So now I have a very weak She-Hulk up against this team. I have enough power here to kill Magneto, and I missed my charge, but I managed to take him down anyway. And I call in the car because I think he's going to land next to me, because most people usually do, so I figured, okay, he'll try it again, but he jumps back. If I had chosen to do the taking out the trash move, I would have caught him, and it probably would have finished him off. But unfortunately, that was my mistake, and now I'm done. My first loss in the lobby. I tell you, that combo was really the highlight of this entire thing. That was ridiculous. It was a 33-hit combo that ended in Gravity Squeeze, using all 3 of his characters, starting from that tackle of Nova's. I will say, when I first saw Nova, when I found out that he had to use red meter in order to get a little bit more power in his hypers, I thought, oh, nobody's going to use Nova. He has to use his red meter, and then he won't be able to regain health back. Well, I was wrong. Getting hit by him once can mean death, regardless of how much red meter he's got. So now I'm back in the game. I figured I'd leave out the other matches. They were good, but this isn't about them. This is about me and Phoenix Wright and She-Hulk and Wesker here. If you guys want to actually see the other people fight if I lose, then let me know in the comments section and I'll leave those fights in. It's only 2 matches. And speaking of 2 matches, that's all I have the time for left. So there's this match and then the following match, which will be the rematch against that 4th Ranger that I fought that really completely destroyed me. So now I'm back up against this Viper, Virgil, and Akuma. He's getting a little cocky there with the teabagging on the ground, but I guess it worked. I tried to punish him for it, and it didn't work at all, so I'm trying to use Maya's shield for cover, and he keeps hitting the shield, allowing me time to punish Viper. But for some reason, I threw out my only other good piece of evidence, but that's okay, because I managed to punishing Viper again. I'm able to grab the last piece of evidence that I need, and thankfully her beam is too slow, so I can punish her whenever she tries to use it using my own laser attacks. Other than that, all she can do is try and get close to me, which is not a good idea. Well, it's really all she can do. And I ended up making a mistake and trying to land an objection, but I ended up jumping over her completely, and it didn't really hurt anything, except me. But She-Hulk comes in, finishes off Viper. And now we have Virgil. I hate Virgil so much. He's got the slowest teleport recovery, I think he does. And it's easy to punish, but in online situations, it's a lot harder to punish, so it's best to just try and bait it and expect it. And a Virgil who doesn't just try to teleport right behind me will usually hit me, because I'm expecting him to teleport behind me. So I managed to bring in Phoenix Wright, who's now in turnabout mode. I try and land that Ace Attorney, but I'm too slow. But it doesn't matter, that finger with X Factor, and down goes Akuma. Just protecting Investigation Mode right is absolutely key. If you can't protect Investigation Mode right, don't even use him. I'm telling you, all of you right people out there, if you can't protect Investigation, don't bother using the character. I know some people try and go and start in Courtroom mode, Trial mode, and just use the little tools that he's got, the paperwork and press the witness. That can only go so far. He is not a close-range fighter because of his terrible range. He needs his projectiles. He absolutely needs them. So now I'm finally up against the 4th Ranger one last time. This is the last match of this video. Let's see if I can get back at him for the horrible, horrible destruction that he pulled on me before. Using his token team, he's not changing it up a bit. So after seeing what happened before, I am pretty much convinced that I need to take out Nova as soon as possible. So I send in Wesker and not Phoenix Wright. This is one of those rare occasions where I send in somebody else. And Wesker is the one person on my team who can probably take out Nova far quicker than anyone else. So I'm trying to make sure that he does not survive. Try and ship him out a little bit. It's not enough. However, he doesn't call somebody in. Managed to shoot him, and now he's down. Now I don't have to worry about him anymore. So now I have Captain America, who dodges, and he hits me, but I'm a little bit too far into the shield for him to continue, but it doesn't matter. He catches me into another combo after wave dashing into me. And I'm having terrible luck with the evidence here. And I try and call out the Maya shield, but it turns into a light attack instead, and now I'm paying for that mess up. And he lands Final Avenger. You hardly ever see this. And I was both happy to see it and sad to see it at the same time. So now She-Hulk is pissed because her lawyer friend is now dead. So there's no Wesker anymore, it's all her. She's going to take down Magneto. I'm going to keep the pressure on him as best as I can. Another reset into another combo, and now Magneto is down. So all I have left is Captain America. I managed to land the level 3 this time. Note to everyone watching this, if you're up against a She-Hulk and she has 3 bars and she's nearing where you're about to come in, try and double jump or air dash because there's a good chance she's going to try and get that car in. Go for the reset, he double jumps, which is a smart move. He grabs me, throws me down, but he misses. Activates his X-Factor, and that's it. She manages to take down the rest of the team by herself. So that's it for this edition of what I'm going to start calling Courtroom Drama, because it's mostly about my 2 lawyers. Wesker's the odd man out, but I don't care. If I dressed him all in red, then I guess I could say that he's Matt Murdock. Then I'd have 3 lawyers. Maybe? Oh well. Thank you all, and this is Kagato signing out.